Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video, the overarching theme for me is what's going on with Seattle. Just not quite sure I'm understanding the start that they've had to the year so far. We'll get into it in a little bit, but without further ado, we are on board with SCUMP as he and OpTic Chicago go to battle against the Seattle Surge. We are playing Raid. Absolutely love this map. I'm so pumped to see it in the rotation. We got just a couple glimpses of it over the past weekend at kickoff weekend, so that was neat to see. I enjoyed seeing that. Hopefully Express works its way in. I know Express is almost in, but anyways, we're getting a little bit off track here. So in this scrim, OpTic ended up going 4-1, although a couple of the maps were pretty close. Started off on Garrison. They won 250 to 229. They were able to win the last rotation to set up the victory on that map. When it came to Crossroads, they actually only won by 6. It was 250 to 244, and they had to mount a comeback in order to do that. Checkmate, which is a map they've been playing extremely well on, after being pretty terrible at it the first half of the year, they came back, they won Checkmate 250 to 200. Moscow was the only map that they lost. It was 204 to 250. That was a little bit interesting to see because that's usually just a map that OpTic has in their pocket. Now, when you're talking about matchups, I could see how that map with its long lines of sight would be a pretty good matchup when it comes to this Seattle squad. But as we mentioned earlier, what's going on with Seattle? To me, when I'm looking at the scoreboard after matches and maps are over, I'm just not seeing the same octane that we saw last year. He just isn't performing the way that he was last year. Last year, he was a guaranteed 1.4, 1.5. Didn't matter the matchup, didn't matter the map, the series. He just came out. He was one of the best players across the board in MW. And this one is just not the same. I don't know if it's just preparation or, team chemistry or what's going on. We'll see. It's still super early. We haven't even played an official match that really counts for anything. So a lot of that can still change. But for me, the big point of this was that OpTic came in. They should have been better than Seattle. They had to handle their business, and they did. So overall, good day out of Chicago. Right now, if we're getting into the actual gameplay here, Chicago did a decent job inside of P1 of being able to split that time. They were able to break towards P2, got the majority of the time inside of P2. They weren't able to win the rotations over towards Garage. So that's why you see a deficit right now. They're going to be down by about 15 points or so as it rotates over towards P4. But when it does get to P4, this is where you'll start to see them turn things around a little bit. By the way, you can see right there that SCUMP was being shot over towards Garage. And the biggest reason why that's happening because Seattle's playing it the right way. As you exit P3, you want to try to push out top laundry where SCUMP's at right here because if you're able to set up in back jungle, so if you're able to get kills. Oh, that was a nice two-piece there from SCUMP. There was one more that kept them out. But as SCUMP comes up, you're going to see here, now they're spawning out. So Seattle did a phenomenal job. You have to either push top laundry or it's a little bit more difficult to push across mid as Seattle did. But if you can push across mid, if you can push out that back spawn, you can easily regain those spawns in the dominant map position for P4. And that's just... originally, that's a really nice job out of Seattle. It does look like they got team wiped as the last 15 seconds here are going to go towards Chicago to get them back in the game. But so far, I mean, just kind of think about Chicago was unsuccessful at rotating over towards P3 and breaking P3. They weren't able to hold P4 despite being set up super early to do so. And it was still basically a tie ball game as it went to P5. So that is something that's super encouraging if you're like an OpTic player. That's the point in time when P5 flips where you think this map really hasn't been going our way at all. We haven't been able to flip. We haven't been able to hold, yet it's tied going into P5. Looks like it's probably going to be somewhat close to tied at the end of P5. We'll see if Chicago's able to break here, but it's just a good confidence booster. As right there, you can see SCUMP is 23-11. He's been playing great. This is one of, I mean, if in my own opinion, this is the best that I've seen him play in a COD for a while. He's just been playing great, and we'll see if it can continue. I don't see why it wouldn't continue, but as of right now, I mean, him, Formal, T2P is absolutely back. Dashy looks great. Envoy's not quite the same. Not that he's a slouch. Envoy last year was an MVP candidate. We haven't consistently seen that out of him this year, but if it does come, look out, because we already have this team in like our top 3, top 4, somewhere in there. If Envoy starts to be the Envoy of last year, that's trouble for the CDL. But we're about at that time. Let's go ahead. Let's listen in. Let's hear exactly what OpTic is talking about as we're about to rotate over towards P2, second set of rotations here.
Got water.
One flashback there, though.
Oh, mid pillars.
Pillars, left side, pressing.
And top laundry. That's one close to Matt.
Laundry,
Laundry
Danny.
pillars. I'm in the back. I'm in the back. I'm in the back.
Danny just sitting up there.
Needed him.
He ran.
He's still up there. Preston.
Hold on. Yo, stay up.
It's not even him, Danny.
There's two laundry then.
Him with an in, him with an in.
That's one pool.
Post right,
Laundry.
Oh, cut out, Brandon.
Dead in back.
Cut out to money. Cut out to money.
We're trying to zig. We're trying to zig.
Yo, money, guys.
Trying to hit it.
Hey, water.
Left side money.
I'm one gun.
One more money.
Go in the back. One came back.
Money.
One in basketball. Back door.
I'm one
Push
shot.
me
Back door, pressing.
I hit him once. He's pillar. Nice.
Another one hill.
I'm waiting.
We're here, though.
Nice. Good. That needs to fuck him up.
Nice.
Back door.
I will say, even though this matchup is pretty close, like right there, Seattle just got team wiped, but still, they did such a nice job. P2 is halfway over. Halfway through P1, OpTic was inside of P1. They had spawns. They had rotation for P2. Seattle was able to get a team wipe inside P1. They were able to rotate through mid, get back to those back P2 spawns, and sure, they got team wiped. They didn't get the rest of the time, the last 30 seconds or so inside of P2, but they did a nice job of being able to flip out OpTic. Now, they came back, they slayed out. There's only, it seems like right here. So we didn't get to see exactly what happened on that rotation right there, but SCUMP was sitting inside of P2. Obviously, for Seattle to rotate over towards garage and then spawn behind SCUMP, that means the rest of OpTic had to have gone off and been able to get those kills on rotation. And that's what you're seeing right here. So overall, that can really change the dynamic, right? It was basically a tie ball game going into P5, and then P1 pops. Chicago does a nice job on P1. Over towards P2, Seattle did a nice job of flipping, but they weren't necessarily able to hold those back spawns and hold that hill time. So they lose the rest of P2. OpTic wins rotation towards P3, and now the map is 7 seconds away from being over. So all in all, and like this right here, you can see Seattle just left, right? With 12, 13 seconds left, there's no point in Seattle staying on P3. If they get those last 7 seconds, who cares? Because if they don't win rotations, that's the #1 thing. So they did a nice job of rotating early and just leaving the rest of that time inside of P3, but that's a massive kill there from SCUMP. The last 4 seconds are going to come in, and that's going to be an OpTic victory. So 40-19 from SCUMP. Big map out of him. Envoy had a ton of hill time. Looking at damage numbers, Dashy with 4,200, OpTic Formal with 4K. And again, as I look across, Pristini played really well, 4,400 damage, second highest in the lobby. But if we're looking at score, look at Octane down here. Octane with 1,400 score, Gunless 1,500 score. I don't know. I'm just not quite seeing it on a consistent basis the same way that I was last year. So if you guys are new around here, you enjoy this sort of content. I put out brand new videos like this every single day, trying to keep people up to date with the COD League. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you don't mind, leave a like, as it really helps out the channel. We're now only a week or 2 away from that first home series. I cannot wait to break down those matchups. So make sure you're here for all that. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in tomorrow's upload.